Now I'm going to show you how to cut your weft strips without using the paper cutter, just in case there's a long line. Check to make sure whether or not your ruler has a marking that represents 0 or if the end of the ruler is 0. We have different kinds of rulers in the art room. I'm going to make a mark at every ½ inch unit, but your measurements might be different depending on what kind of project you're doing. I ended up with a little piece here that was smaller than ½ inch, so I gotta make sure I slide my ruler down to make marks further down the page rather than turning my paper around, otherwise that little end isn't going to line up. I'm then going to turn the paper around and align the ruler with the 2 dots that I made and draw a line between them. Repeat this all the way down to the other side of the page. Alternatively, you may want to make curvy weft pieces or zigzags. You still want to mark off your units like you did before. This gives you an idea of where to begin and end your lines, no matter what shape they are. Be careful if you're making zigzag lines that you don't make them too sharp. If you make too sharp corners, they tend to bend when you're trying to weave. Just like using the straight line option, you are going to continue to make lines in different shapes all the way to the other side of the page. Once you have all your lines done, whether you're doing straight lines or zigzag lines, you're going to just cut along the lines that you did. If you did straight lines like this, you don't really have to keep them in order unless you have different sizes. You can use scissors or an X-Acto blade with a cutting mat and a ruler. You might notice that you've got some black marker showing here. That's okay, because we're going to use the other side. It might be easier to use an X-Acto blade if you decide to do squiggly or zigzag lines. Just don't forget to use a cutting mat. It's important if you're doing squiggly lines that you pay attention to the order of your pieces. You need to keep them in order if you want them to fit together well when you go to weave them. You might even want to label them, which is what I went back and did here.